Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Matthias Biggs, and I'm going to share with you my research that I've been doing this semester on hula, Hawaiian hula. Hula means dance in Hawaiian, however, hula encompasses much more than just dance. To introduce myself a little more, I'm originally from Denver, Colorado, and I moved to Durango to attend Fort Lewis College about 2 years ago. One reason I wanted to attend the fort was to study indigenous cultures a little bit more. And it's very interesting how hula has kind of fallen into my lap here because some of my other passions are dance and movement. So I'm really eager to share with you how hula is not only a visual, aesthetic, and art form, but it's also a rich, invigorating piece of the Hawaiian culture. I wish I had unlimited time to describe to you the intricacies of hula and how vital it is to the culture, but I don't. So, I'm going to try to convey the most important points that I've come across in my research so far, and that is that hula is a multi-sensory experience. It's not just the visual aesthetic of watching a dance, but it also includes the language, the chant, sounds, the music, and to elaborate, I will go in depth with how the gestural movements and the movement of the body, it really is an art form and conveys a lot of metaphors, imagery, and meaning through the movements. And lastly, I'm going to talk about how it invigorates the culture in many different ways. The first thing I really want to hit home is that hula is a multi-sensory experience, especially when it's being performed in front of you. One of the aspects is the sound and the music, the vibrations of external instruments. These external instruments can be made up of a lot of things. Oftentimes in the originations, it was often nature-based instruments. The ipu, for instance, is actually still used commonly within hula, and that is a hollowed out gourd that's kind of used as a drum, and it's tapped against the ground as well as with hands. There's also other types of instruments that they used to make that would rattle, and they were basically two rocks attached to the fingers. Upon colonization, however, other instruments were introduced into the Hawaiian culture, such as the guitar, which also evolved into the ukulele that the Hawaiians often use in a lot of their music. Another sort of sound aspect that is involved in hula is the chant and the language, the vibrations from humans, not just external instruments. Depending on the hula, there are designated chanters and musicians, but also the hula performers can also be a part of that sound aspect. They can chant while dancing, and oftentimes actually they have a dialogue before the dance where the instructor or the musicians will say something and the dancers will respond before the dance actually begins. But it can also always take place during the dance as well. The visual aspect of not only the dancers, but the garments that they wear is also a really key point in the way that hula is transmitted to the audience. Before colonization again, a lot of their garments were made out of nature-based things such as leaves, other plant fibers, flowers and shells, things from the ocean. But upon colonization, it brought a lot of cotton garments. Both of these garments accentuate the body and the movements. Often have something altered to the hips so that it accentuates the hips. Other things such as things in the hands, especially the hands, and even sometimes they wear anklets. Those accentuate the aspect of the body because it's more alluring and vibrant colors. It draws attention to those aspects of the body. So as that aspect of the body is moving, the viewer is more enticed to look at that aspect, which also enhances the visual aesthetic of the dance. I also want to mention that this kind of like lag. So if you were to move your hips one way, the dress then follows that movement, but it lags behind. So it creates a more ethereal feeling in a certain sense of extension. The last aspects of this is the learning experience. I bring these previous factors up because oftentimes we'll hear about visual learners or auditory learners or kinesthetic learners. And this dance almost encompasses all of those types of learning. Visually, you are watching the dance through your eyes, and that is how it's transmitted to your brain. And also a lot of the sounds and music also influence the recollection of what is being portrayed within the dance. The chants. The chant also is a language. So there's a visual language, an auditory language, but then there's communicative language. And with all these factors in place, it solidifies and enhances that memorization or reference to different points of the dance. I'm going to go much more in depth with the visual aesthetics of the performer, such as the gestural movements and the movement and traveling through space. So hula can be kind of broken up into the 4 different quadrants: the feet, the hips, the upper body and arms, especially the hands, and also the head. Movement of the feet really correlates with a lot of the sounds. If the ipu kind of drops on the floor, you often have a step in that count. The movement of the arms and the upper body is super vital, and that is where a lot of the information is being transmitted through. There's lots of different poses. This is the basic pose, but here is mountain. And then of course you have a lot of water. Water is really staple. You also have rain, and you have wind, and you have all these different types of things that are metaphors for aspects of life, because a lot of the metaphors can be superficial, like flower, but then I have flower and I'm making a lei. I'm making a lei right now, which is their necklace, but it can also symbolize cyclical things like circles, time passing and coming, cycles of seasons. It can mean a sign of fertility, such as the flower being the female, and the creation of the lei is the penetration. So as one were to grow up watching hula, these symbols would harbor more meaning as one gets older. It also makes it relatable to multiple different audiences and age ranges as well. The gestures and movements of hula are a visual communication that is vital to understanding hula, especially because a lot of hula is story-based, narrative-based, spiritually based, emotionally based, to really emphasize how the chant, the language, the music, and the hand gestures all correlate. I'm going to share with you a verse of a hula dance that I've been learning. This is my kumu chanting it, and I'm going to read you the translation. Upon the mountains of Kohala, adorned by the mist, Ha'alelea is dancing, woman of love and compassion. So the hand gestures for those 4 lines are: upon the mountains of Kohala, adorned by the mist, Ha'alelea is dancing, woman of love and compassion. So I'll also show you the footwork to that, so you can see how well the steps correlate with the musical instruments. And the upper body, my upper body, is correlating a lot to the lyric. Iluna, iluna o kamona o kohala, o onani ia me ka ualele noi. Lastly, and possibly most importantly, I want you to take away from this video is that hula is a record-keeping and a transmission of knowledge and wisdom. That knowledge is vast. It includes environmental knowledge, personal knowledge, emotional knowledge, worldview knowledge, and social norms. The song that I just shared with you, Upon the Mountains of Kohala, Kohala is a place which is already enlightening you to a site-specific place of the Hawaiian Islands, which can help your geographical reference. The second line also is adorned by the mist. So the mountains are adorned by the mist. You're already correlating that mountains and mist sometimes go hand in hand. That imagery can be intimidating or ethereally beautiful, depending on the mood of the song. Another aspect is pua. Pua is flower. Oftentimes you'll hear pua of Hawaii, and pua also means people. So pua of Hawaii is flowers of Hawaii, but pua of Hawaii is also people of Hawaii, which inevitably connects nature and humans together. We are no more than the earth, and we are no less than the earth. The last verse I shared with you, a woman of love and compassion. That is highlighting those emotional characteristics, love and compassion within a being. The song indicates that that is one reason why Ha'alelea is revered or respected, because she has those qualities. Within many hula, there is emotional knowledge, whether that be love, sorrow, pride, admiration, struggles, longing, or strength. There's another song of the great chief Kamehameha who unified the Hawaiian Islands under one rule, and that song is danced with a lot of pride. The last thing that I want to mention, interestingly enough, is the origins of hula. Hula originated in a very spiritualistic and ritualistic sense. A lot of it was to honor, celebrate, and appreciate the deities of their religion and spirituality and an understanding of the world. So a lot of hula, a lot of chants, a lot of mele, the lyrics, are written from the heart. And that is really important, I think, in its transmission through the performers to the people, and is possibly one reason why it is so hypnotizing when you're truly experiencing a hula performance. I wish I had much longer to elaborate on the intricacies of hula and how it really impacts the culture. Regardless, I want to say thank you to my academic mentor, Corey Pillen, as well as my kumu Ananda from Durango, helping me learn hula, as well as Kumu Hope for their chants and music. And I hope you all were able to take something away from this, and hopefully you feel more inspired to go learn more. Thanks.